Thank you all for coming here today. How many of you guys flew in on an airline, preferably United, to get here? Raise your hands. Woo, thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being a customer. Thank you for coming here and hearing a little bit about what we're doing at United Airlines. Again, my name is Rob Bentz. My teams build solutions that empower the day of travel experience for our customers and our employees within the airport to help you get to where you're trying to go so we can remove the friction and deliver a great product to you. And I'm here to talk about some things we've done in airport operations specifically. So let's skip the agenda. So United Airlines. So a lot of hands raised so you know about us. We're the world's largest airline. Want to continue to be that airline, so we're always seeking ways to do innovative things, to be able to encourage customers to fly and have a great experience to get where they're going to. We serve 380 plus airports around the world, flying upwards of 500 to 550,000 customers a day. It's a huge operation, and we're going to talk a little bit about that scale and what we're doing to ease some of that friction and modernize for our customers and our employees so that it is friction-free and we can deliver a great experience for you. If I say airport operations, the key thing about airport operations that I think is important to people understand is when I think about it at our team, you have our great award-winning mobile app, which I think everyone, if you're flying, should have it. You should use it. It will help you get information. It will help you fly seamlessly and frictionless as much as possible. You get updates and changes there. That's not what I'm going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about our commercial tools. I'm going to talk about what we're doing in the airport space. And the airport space is that moment you step really on the curb. The curb of that physical airport, you walk in through the lobby, you're interacting with our self-service infrastructure. Our employees are there greeting you with a smile. They're using their mobile devices to serve you. They're standing at a podium and serving using them as a tool. You're looking at that signage to figure out where you're trying to go. You're looking out on that ramp and you're watching them put the bags underneath the plane. You're watching them push the plane back. That's airport operations. That day of travel experience at the airport, all those things that go into making sure you can show up, get on the plane, and push back at that point. That's the kind of the world that we're going to talk about today and how we're improving that experience. So some strategic priorities that we've got going on, right? If you haven't heard about United Next, please Google it, check it out. It's our growth strategy. We're investing in hundreds of aircraft and onboarding them to continue to grow. It's our growth plan. And in part of that is we need to be efficient. Because if you think about our infrastructure today and our airports, while we're adding equipment, we're not necessarily building these bigger airports. So we've got to be efficient. And we've got to make sure everybody in that operation is connected and sharing data and working as one team. The customer experience is paramount. If you think about how you feel, travel today can be filled with anxiety. We're probably all pro travelers in here. We travel for business. We know what we're doing. Some of us may not. Many customers are not. Many customers fly 1 to 2 times every 3 years. So if you imagine those customers, we've got to make sure that experience is efficient and effective for them because they're showing up and they're worried about things did they pack the right stuff? Where's the gate? I don't know this airport. So we want to make sure that experience is really clean, and we want to give them technologies that they can use to power their fingertips to be able to improve that experience. We want to bring agility into the airport operations. What does that mean? As you grow your operations, one of the goals we want to do is we don't necessarily want to just continue manual processes. We don't want to continue to have it be a human capital event. We want it to be more of lead by exception. So how do we do that? That's where the technology we're going to talk about comes into play. We want to make sure that there's a consistency in information in all channels. We want customers to trust. And we want to make sure that they can know that they're getting the same story from the mobile app that the agent has at their hands as well. So that consistency across the experience is paramount. And we really want to be proactive versus reactive when it comes to travel. How many of you had a situation that I call travel happens? Did travel happen to you on your way here to reInvent? Did you maybe have a cancellation due to weather? Maybe there was somebody, one plane showed up late, they had some conflicts. Travel happens. Things that are out of sight of even United's control. There's weather. Last time I checked, none of us control that, but a lot of that comes into play and causes travel to happen. When it does, we want to respond well. We want to respond fast, and we want to be able to make sure that it is less impactful to you. So what are we going to talk about today? I mean, two things we're going to talk about on our solutions that we're pushing forward with. Two things that didn't exist for us last year, and I talk about coming to reInvent, why it's important, and the things that I share, because a lot of the stuff that we're doing now were things that, quite honestly, we saw at reInvent, looking at other solutions, looking at ways to apply technology to our problems, and then we take them and execute on them. So traveling better with generative AI. Everybody talks about generative AI. It's a really cool buzzword. I'm going to talk about a very pragmatic use case and tell you the why and how we did it and what its intent is for the customer. And then a digital twin. Why is a digital twin important in airport operations? Why is it needed? And what did we do to get there? So as we talked about travel happening, here's some stats on travel happening. About 116 minutes of delayed minutes every year for all U.S. airlines. That's a lot of delays. Look at the billions of minutes that happens in customer frustrations. When you think about travel happening to customers, that's something we want to minimize. And when it does happen, we want to make sure the customer has what they need in the power of their fingertips. So how did this use case come to be, and why is it important? It's because of travel happening that happened. We have this really cool tool or capability that we have in our airport operations. It's called Agent on Demand. It allows you to connect to an agent at any one of our global airports remotely via your phone. These agents are airport agents that work in the airport, and they can serve you to do whatever you could do in a physical airport in that person. They're airport agents in Houston supporting people in Chicago supporting people in San Francisco, Guam supporting people in London, right? So it's all over the world. You've got these connected agents. What is that? Why is that important? Why am I telling you that? Because this use case came out of a conversation that I was having when I was in the airport during one of these travel happen events. And I'm talking to the line, and I'm like, hey, did you guys know about Agent on Demand? Did you reach out to them? And they're like, well, these 3 business travelers. And they're standing there, and they're like, well, I got a seat. Our flight got canceled. We're trying to get to this business meeting in Savannah, and I got my seat tonight, and I'm going to make it, but my 2 colleagues that need to be there with me, they didn't get a seat today. They can't fly until tomorrow. So they got a seat tomorrow night, and they're going to miss the meeting, and we're trying to figure out, but we know that if we can do a few things, we've looked, and if we can get us all to fly to this airport, we'll get in a car and we'll drive and we'll make it to the meeting on time, and we've looked at that, right? So these were customers standing in line, and at the time, the customers have to stand in line because they book tickets to a destination, and they're all separate, right? None of us usually, we travel business, whether we all book our own tickets, but we're trying to get there together. They had a problem, and the problem couldn't be solved through our self-service tools. They needed to go talk to a human. They needed that agent to work some magic to pull them together, to get them to a flight that they could make it to their meeting. So that's the why. Why did we go after this use case? So we want to travel better during these delays, right? Customers want to reach their destination as soon as possible. They don't want to wait till the next available seat, right? Things happen. You wanted to, the computer only knows that you wanted to go to Las Vegas. So it's not going to try to automatically send you to Phoenix. When there's no more seats in Las Vegas for 2 days and you want to get there, you're going to have a conversation with someone. You may not want to wait. You're going to miss your event. You're going to miss your meeting. You're going to miss reInvent. You're going to miss standing up here talking to you guys about the latest, greatest technology. Those things are time sensitive, and that happens to about 6 to 8% of our customers that go through in our ops. They need to be there. They want to be there, and they're willing to do things to be different. So while we try to do things systematically and logically, there's things that people want to get in and talk to a human about, because humans can can look at different things and make different decisions. Here comes generative AI, right? So generative AI now can have that conversation, can have that conversation with the customer, can extract data out of it, the customer, to say, hey, I know where you're going, I know where you're at, I know where you're trying to go, but there's something that's happened there. You need to tell me where are some other alternative places you want to go. How far do you want to drive? How long are you willing to do something different? And then once you do that, let's create a map. Let's plot those points out so that you can process a little clearer. Because right, our brain processes 60,000 times faster visually than it does reading text. So take the context, create a map, plot the points, let you decide. Maybe you've got a cousin that's going to pick you up. Maybe there's cars available here and you want to make that decision. Maybe you weren't really going to that destination, you were coming out a couple hours and you bought something for price, right? In the middle of your moment, take it out and allow you to have that decision. And then let us just take care of you. Put you where you want to go so that you can get to where you need to be. That's where the large language model comes in. That's where we have reference data that we plug into it. And that's where we're controlling and orchestrating our own internal data calls to make sure that, because we all know we don't want it to make up going to airports we don't fly to or that we can't get you to. So we want to make sure that that's all guaranteed to be true and informed. Right? We want to be responsible with the use of AI. We want you to be able to trust it. We want to make sure that we put it out there and trust it. So architecting that and then creating that visualization so that you can see, not just read, but you can actually see the solution set in front of you. And guess what? Now that solution is not only available in your self-service channel, but it's available in your agent tools channel. So now I have consistency of information, a single source, a flexibility. I can scale the solution to look at many, many opportunities really, really quickly using the power of AWS and the cloud. So how did we start to have this conversation, right? When you reach out and you look at the stuff that you're doing in the industry and you're having these ideas and generative AI, there's everybody. Well, TCS is in my portfolio. They're a strategic partner, as we said. We work hand in hand. They know our domain. And we collaborated to figure out, to bring the right strategic skills from their practice in to help us build the solution out. That's a team. I'm just one guy standing up here in front of a mighty team back at United. Many of them are in the room that architected a way to do this responsibly, using the tools of AWS, using our internal systems to deliver a solution that brings together generative AI and our own internal data sets and structure so that we could deliver an end-to-end integrated solution that's multi-channel that'll serve our customers in our airports. Really, really powerful. Really, really nice to see that now we've taken what used to have a conversation or used to require you to go stand in a line or connect to one of our agents via a video chat so that they could manually look at something. Now it's in the power of the customer's hands. So those 6 to 8% of disrupted customers now can make a decision. They can decide if they want to travel better and get themselves closer to their destination when travel happens to them. Really exciting stuff. Really pragmatic way to use generative AI. It's like, how do we find, what was our problem? So the why. And then how did we use what we know to be good architecture? How do we use the AI to be very responsible and make sure that we can trust the data to deliver that solution? It's really great stuff. Maybe we can dig into that. And I apologize for no pictures. There was a lot of back and forth on what we show and what we don't on. So I hope you can picture that in your head. Boarding Twin. So a couple years back, we created a platform at United called Intelligent Airport. And our now CIO stood up on a stage here at AWS and talked about Intelligent Airport and how we have woven together all of our data telemetry from our ground service equipment. And we were looking at that, our tugs and our belt loaders and their ability in the operation to be ready for a turn, and how that data was in motion. It's a data in motion platform. We showed how we were ingesting it from multiple vendors, bringing it into our cloud, processing that data and creating intelligence from that. We've matured a little bit to actually start to bring in video insights. So now inside our boarding twin in our airports, we're using our security cameras overhead. We're streaming that data. We have it on edge compute at our airports. We're turning that object detection of that's a person, and it processes this geofence. We're turning that into some intelligence. And that intelligence is then being fed into our intelligent airport platform to be able to ascertain dwell times, people movement, conflicts. Well, guess what? Like, that's really hard for an operator to really see. Folks that are working they like to put their eyes on something. They like to see, well, I can see that the person's boarding slowly today because there's wheelchairs blocking that. Or there's customers crowding it because there's people coming in last minute to board from a late flight, and it confuses them. So they want to believe the data. Well, how else do you do that, right? So it was important for us to put a twin in play. What did that come in from reInvent? There was digital twins here, and how do we take what was in manufacturing and flow meters and valve controls and apply that in our airport? How do we put that in our boarding? How do we start to use now that we can take these insights from cameras? And along came TCS, and we looked at their platform and their ability to bring in some of their twin and put in a really quick 2D twin model of our boarding gate. And what was that purpose there, right? It was give us real-time visibility so that we can show, and an operator can look at this and they can see the dots moving that represent a person. They can see conflict, egress, ingress collisions so that we can have a boarding pace. I play golf. I don't know how many of you guys play golf. I play golf. I'm not really good at golf. But I often get the little monitor at the time when I get behind pace, right? 1 minute, 2 minutes, it turns yellow. I get about 9 minutes behind pace, there comes a marshal, right? Hey, what are you doing, Rob? Stop hitting 6 balls. Like just one ball, you get to hit one ball. You need to speed it up. You're holding up the whole course. Same principle for boarding, right? Boarding pace matters. If we board the flight, and you guys have probably heard through the news that we launched a new boarding algorithm called Wilma this fall, window middle aisle seating to help shave a couple minutes off of our boarding. Well, that's great, but how do you ensure and enforce that, right? Use the twin. The twin feeds that data in, and that's where we're starting. That's where we can see, are we meeting that SLA? Are we actually boarding faster? Hey, are we starting to have a problem? Because once the operation's over, I can't save it, right? I can only save that flight in real time, because once it flies, you can't pull it back and start all over again. So the twin will give that alert to then signal, hey, there's a problem. They can come look at that gate. We can start to exception and make sure that we can save the day in the moment. And so that's a combination of how we're using the 4K cameras to do object detection, edge compute to keep all that imagery, our models are coming down from our out of the cloud into the edge. We're processing it there. Then we're taking that data and flowing it into the twin so that we can actually look at that whole airport so you can see where your problem spots are and then respond. This framework gives us the ability to monitor the whole airport without looking at it, right? With the power of AWS, taking alerts, calling people when they need to come and look at a gate, when their gate's having problems, feeding that information into a dispatch system to bring extra agents where needed. Those are the powers that you can do within the twin and within our operation to help make sure that our customers get to where they're going at the right time with as minimal friction as possible. I got to give a shout out to TCS. They're a great partner. We moved really quickly with being able to put this in light together this year with them, and it's been very strategic. They understand our business. They understand the domain. I'm very thankful for them, thankful for them letting me be here today. Thankful for my team. Imran is down here. If you have really technical questions, we can pull in Imran and our solution architect down here that can really dig in, and we can hash out some of the details of how we got here. But I'm just really thankful for the TCS team and their knowledge in the space of the twin and their generative AI practice that helped us fast track our ability to do this right for our customers. And that's all. Thank you.